morning, traders. It's a wonderful Sunday morning. Hope all of you are having a great weekend. And let me take time to thank everybody who have given me your best wishes and your well wishes and your prayers for my son. He is going to be back home today, and he's recovered. Pretty much, the doctors have done an amazing job. So he is back home. He will be home today. Thank you again for your support and for your prayers. So let's go right into the webinar. Please remember to subscribe, set the notification up, and you will get the notification when I make posts during the weeks, because I do updates on at least 2 charts during the weeks. I'll try to make a third one this week if possible. And I'll keep those going on a longer term basis. So you will see the step-by-step analysis. So let me see if I can bring that up and show you what I'm talking about. If you're watching my videos for the first time, you want to go to community, right? So this is in the community section. Let me see if I can show you how to get there. So when you get on my YouTube, let me go back like this, one step. Yeah, when you come to my YouTube page, you go to community, you click on community, and it will take you to this page. That is where I'm doing step-by-step analysis, the videos that I'm posting, as well as under the videos, you will see the trade setups that I'm taking. So if you open this, you will see this is the trade I posted on Friday, right? And these trades, they have very specific rules on them. I will follow up what I do with the trades. So you can follow this on a step-by-step basis. Look at the trades I am taking on these 2 charts, and I will keep following up them for a very long time. So, so you would see what I do with a specific pair when I'm trading it. Right? When I'm taking trades on it, when I'm ignoring it because it's in consolidation and all of that. So if it is the first time you're seeing my video, please take time to go there, watch that, and that would really help you if you're a struggling trader. I mean, if you're a new trader, that should help you. If you're successful, I don't think you need to watch my videos. So basically, let's go. I'm going to start with those. I'm going to start with the New Zealand yen, because this one is the one I'm following up there. And the trade is still active, which means I'm still in the trade. Now, some of my traders closed it on Friday, and that's pretty okay. You can close your trade if you don't like it. You close it for break even, because we were expecting this to break through on Friday, and it didn't go. We're still in the consolidation zone. You can see that very clearly, right? It is still consolidating, and the trade is still valid. I still think this is going to go. Now, this is what you would watch for. You can bring this stop down a little if you want to this level. I wouldn't advise to do it immediately. I will tell you when I am moving my stop. I would watch how this progress. If by Monday morning this is down here, we'll put the trade to break even, because it's supposed to continue go and don't come back into this area. Sorry, guys. If Monday morning the trade is still here, we'll close it for break even. We'll re-enter. We'll assume that that is the flat. Or they'll make another flat here. We'll sell this flat. It is still downside. Sometimes these corrections do get a little bigger. So you've got to manage your trade by getting out and get back in at another spot. Let's go. So bigger picture, 4 hour, we're still looking for this move down. Now the move would become just a regular flat. That's what I'm assuming, that this would be a regular flat. It's going to come somewhere here. And at this point, I think we're going to make a new high, right? So I will show you also how I'll be trading this to the upside. I'm trying to show you how I'll trade this to the downside, and we'll continue to do that. Right? I'm trying to catch impulses within a specific move. Let's see if I manage to do that. Go to the 1 hour, and that is a trade we're going for, right? Let's go. Let's start the webinar now. Dollar index. Dollar index, and I've been telling you, if you've been following me all the time, that we're in a consolidation. Bigger picture is downside. Biggest pictures, I think they will come to this level. There is a good chance this might be the move that end up going to this level. If that is the case, we will be in the sell. We will be selling it all the way to here, after which I think it will be going up, right? That's forecasting. Forecast is based on a specific method called wave analysis. If you're watching my webinar for the very first time, and I hope you guys can share it so more people can get access to this method. It's a method of analysis that allows you to make forecast. Most other methods out there, they're not forecasting methods. They're looking for specific things, and they said, well, when I see this thing, I do this, basically, right? But they can't forecast what the move is going to do. They don't even have an idea what the next step of the move should be. They're just saying, I think it will go down here or it'll go up here. We're saying when we see patterns, they behave a specific way, right? I probably would I was contemplating doing a webinar on comparison of methods, because I was watching a video that popped up on my YouTube channel. When I was watching YouTube, I was watching a psychological video, and this one popped up on Wave and on trading, and it was about supply and demand. And I remember doing something in that study supply and demand when I was studying. And the idea that if they're sold in this area here, when this price come back to that area, they're going to sell again. Right? That is what supply and demand is based on. That these areas, the market turn to the downside. When the market comes back into those areas, they're going to drop again, or there's going to be a sell back in that area because there is still supply there. In terms of currency, that's nonsense. I don't know whether sugar, oil, or cane would work with that kind of supply and demand, right? Just imagine you were selling sugar in the year this year here. The start of the year, you were selling sugar there. When sugar price come back there, you said, okay, I'll sell again at that price. No, it's trending up. You're not going to be selling back at that price. There is something classically wrong with that method. I studied it and I remember thinking, well, wait a second. If I'm selling US dollar at this price now, this month of that year, and the next year the price come back, I'm not selling back there. I may not even be in the market. It might be a different transaction for the huge companies. It might be totally different conditions. Why would you sell back there? You're not keeping your orders there for 1 year to sell. Okay, only when it comes back to this price, I will sell. There is something wrong with that method. If you think logically, it's misleading, it's misunderstanding. The idea that the supply is still there or the demand is still there at that specific spot, it doesn't make sense. You're not keeping your sugar hoard in your warehouse for the next year when price come back here to sell. You're not doing that. That's generally not how these things work. Considering that most commodities are sold in the future markets, not in the spot market. So you're selling your commodity 3-4 months ahead of time, not when it comes back to this price. So I may do a comparison of methods using all the possibility, using support and resistance, using this, all these methods that people use, and in comparison to wave analysis. And I would explain why I choose wave analysis as the method that I'm using. Not that I don't know these other methods, but why wave analysis seems to be the one that gives me the edge in the market. We're all looking for an edge in the market. And I'm not really, saying that anybody else is wrong or what they're doing. I don't care about people. I care about methods. I discuss ideas and methods. Are these methods really giving you an edge in the market? That's the whole point. If they give us, then we will all use it. I will use it if it gives an edge in the market. But I don't see the edge because there's not logic to that edge. Accidentally, 1 or 2 will work. A couple would work accidentally. Anything you do would work accidentally a couple times. Like they say, a broken clock is right twice daily, right? Because twice daily, the time would be exactly where the clock is broken. That does not mean that you can gauge time by that clock because twice daily it's correct, right? It's the same thing here. So let's go back to 4 hour. We're doing forecasting. We're saying when we see these methods and this specific behavior, they tell us something and they show us direction. So remember when we were doing this, I was like, okay, they can come back and break that up because we've seen these 3 wave methods. And then here I said, we have to see where they consolidate. I told you they're going to come down, make an impulse, and then watch for the consolidation. That's your clue. Now, sometimes you can trade in the consolidation depending on the size of it. Sometimes you can't. Well, we traded in some consolidations last week, and we made some money. We got some break-even trades because they didn't go, and that's okay, right? So let's see within the consolidation here what we're doing. We've got this. We had 1, 2, 3. It came back here. This piece we thought could drop, so we took the sell. We got out of the trade. There was a chance that there was a contracting flat in there. We do have contracting flats, which we tend to ignore, but they exist. And because of that, you take the trade. You get out of the trade. We made profit. This was FOMC. I think we made profit in those trades during FOMC. I think I showed you some of them. It was the silver, the Aussie, the silver, a few more trades we tried. And then it went back. We saw that coming. And then we said, okay, now they have to tell us whether this was all the consolidation for upside, or whether they're going to come to this level, break the top and downside. Now, as it stands right now, you still don't have any proof of that because we don't know what this is going to do. This is one move. Now, this could come back here and that would be great. From this point, they can either go back up. It could come break this low and go back up. It could totally drop through the bottom. So 3 scenarios, what it's going to do. What if they don't even do that? What if it stops right here, consolidating here and just take off? That's a 4th scenario. So what wave analysis teaches you is in every single of those scenarios, you have a strategy of how you're going to trade it. That's it. You see the edge in the market. It's not saying when I see this pin bar, I will wait for it to pull back into this pin bar and then sell. Because you don't know how it's going to pull back in the pin bar. You don't even know if it's going to pull back in the pin bar. And I was watching one of those where the guy started on the daily and then he came from the weekly, he's showing a weekly pin bar, and then he came and he took a trade on a 15-minute switch, which has nothing to do with the original trade he was showing on the weekly or the daily. And I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. That looks like you just fix something there to fit what your narrative is, but it doesn't work. So, I'm not criticizing the person. I'm just saying the method doesn't seem to make sense to me. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying, okay, if I get a flag here, we sell. We will sell because there's likely going to be a flag there. Now, what would happen with that flag is 2 things. There's a flag here already. Some of my traders might be in that sell already. I'll show you some of them that I am in a sell in already. So this could be your sell setup once you see this, because your assumption is that they're going to come back to break this low minimum. Now, if your assumption is wrong, they're going to go back up. You get a break-even trade. If your assumption is correct, they just keep dropping. The idea is not for them to just break this low. The idea is for them to go all the way to the bottom because we already have a 3-wave daily structure. But if they break only this low and then go back up, you would get enough profit to book and then to look for buy setups on the way up. See? Pretty easy. So if you're not in the trade now, and I guess most of you are not, what you would do is wait for this to make a flag. Eventually, they make a small one, and then they make a bigger one. If we get a bigger one in this structure, we look for a sell. As long as the bigger one does not go back to the top here, which means it doesn't consolidate back to the top, we look for a sell setup. So I think we're looking for a sell setup here, most likely in the US dollar. Gold, exactly like I showed you last week. Watch this one. That was the key to tell us they're going to make a next sharp one down. We sold that because we know they're going to make one of this down. That was so simple because you see this in there and you said, okay, wait a second. We have an impulse, a correction here. Where's the next impulse? Here is it. And what happens? We're left with this. So guess what happened? We were expecting this to come back here. See how easy it becomes now? So some of my traders who trade gold, I don't trade gold, I trade silver mostly, are in this trade. Some of them took it much earlier in here or in here. But this was a buy. I think we said close it because it wasn't going so fast and we want to see how big this consolidation is going to be. You can get a trade still to go. Once it breaks this top, what happens? And that is where you would have to be careful based on wave analysis, because based on wave analysis, when it gets to that top, it can either make flags and continue to go, or we can break the top, stop, and make a new low. See this one? 1, 2, 3, down. Take this one, for example, 1, 2, 3. What happened when it breaks the top? They drop. In this case, we knew they were going to drop. Why did I know that this was going to drop and I don't know if this is going to drop? Well, we have a low here, and this one has to go and break that low before it goes back up. See the importance of the tops and bottoms that I was telling you guys about? Once the low is broken, this one is not giving you a clue whether it needs to break a low or not. This one could totally take off to the upside. And the reason why this could take off to the upside, because we have a 3-wave structure. We have 1, we have 2, we have 3. You could come all the way back to this top. So do you want the buy? Now, if that is possible, do you want the buy? That's the question. What if it takes off Monday like this? Do you want that trade? Of course. So we are looking for buy setups. But do we know that this wave to the downside has ended here? We don't know that as yet. We can make an assumption that it's ended, but we don't know that because there's a chance of this just being a correction. Like this was a correction, like this is a correction. For this to be just a correction, come to the top there and give you a next one. Now, that will depend on what the dollar index is doing, because most of the movement is a dollar movement. It's not really gold price changing or silver price. It's a price of dollar changing, and that's what creating these little moves up and down. So, because we're trading it against the dollar. So let's see what happens when it gets to the top. That is your trade. You're buying it to the top. When it breaks that top, or it gets very close to the top, it doesn't have to break the top in this case, but when it gets very close to the top, you'd have to be very careful with the trade, right? And that's where, sometimes even if we think it's going to go, but it doesn't go, our job is to get out of the trade. And that's where the strategy comes in. Silver, on the other hand, has a different structure. And I've been telling you that since last week. The structure in silver says, you know what? This thing could come down. The probability to the downside is much higher, because these structures, when they consolidate so much in here, here's a good example. Here's a good example. I can show you 100. Here's a good example. When they do that, they tend to go in the direction that they come in. You come in this way, you come out that way. You go in this way, you go out the other way. You come in this way, you have to come out this way. But that doesn't mean we're not going to have an upside. This structure will definitely go back up. I've been telling you that once we broke the top, that we're making a running flat. We're looking for this and then go back up there. So I think one more drop here is possible before we go up. It's not necessary, but it's very possible. Can we go with this as the running flat? It can be, but it's a little too small. This one is a little too short. I wish they had got one more down. I would this had come down a little more and then start that up move, and then we'll be long-term upside. But right now, I'm still a little biased to the downside, because this pattern has taught me that, you know what, be careful, you can get a drop. So I would not be surprised if that drop comes. Right now, it's going up slowly. They can go slowly back even to this top. It doesn't matter. There's no necessity as to how far this has to go or don't have to go once you're making a correction like this before you get that drop. Now, am I buying into this piece? No. If I have to buy, I wouldn't buy this. I buy gold. I buy something else, because this structure is a little different from that. I have a sell entry here just in case Monday morning it drops. I would be in that trade. So I have an entry to sell there. Remember, I've shown you a few entries that I had also previously, right? The entry to sell is that if this stops right at the top here and drop, I want that trade. Break this low, I'll be taking profit or moving my stops into profit. See, that is what I think could happen. Let's see what would happen, right? I'm not, this could still crawl up to the top. I'm not trading it to the upside. I'm trading something else to the upside. Euro, you can trade to the upside. You might be lucky because euro did not go up as yet. So if you remember the pattern we're looking for euro, we had one, we had this, we had 1, 2, 3. I told you they will come here. They'll go back to the top here, break this top, and then come back down here. Right? That was what we were looking for. Well, they actually broke the low first. That is not a problem. You can get a running flat. I thought they would come like this level here, make a running flat, and then drop. This was FOMC. Some of our traders bought that because we were trying to buy for a running flat, and you got a good one up to the top. If you didn't take I didn't take that. I took the Aussie, right? So go there. What happens when they go so high? Well, you can always make an argument for contracting flats here, but we said, okay, let's see what they do at the top there for it. And once they start to come down, you get sell setups. So here is the question. Are we looking at two sets of expanding flats? Are we looking at this as a 1, 1, 2, 3 up here for this one? That's an expanding flat. And are we looking at 1, 2, 3 for this one, and then we go back up there? That possibility exists. So we sold this, and then we said, okay, wait, there was sells in here as well. And we're watching this now. What does that look like? It looks like a buy. If this is a sell, and if this is a sell, and if this is a sell, and this is a sell, this one is a break even, that is a sell. This is a buy. It's a buy forming right now. But do we know that this will be a buy? Here's what could happen. Monday, this thing opened and it comes back here. If they come to the bottom here, wait for it to go back up, then sell. If it stays at the top there, put an entry to buy there. That is what I would do. It's not a trade call. It's what I would do. If it stays at the top here, I already have an entry to buy there. If this goes. If it comes lower to this level, take off that entry, wait for it to go back up and sell. See? That means we're going to continue to do this much lower. Now, there's a reason why I think it's going to go back up, and it's the reason it's not the euro. The euro does not have the specific pattern that tells me it's going to go back. But there are 3 charts that we looked at on Friday that has specific patterns that tell us that the euro should go back up, right? If it's all dollar movement, $3 charts that has that pattern. Let me show you one right now, and then I'll go to continue the webinar with the rest of them. I have to show you the dollar Swiss. That is the dollar CAD, dollar Swiss. Here's it. This one was absolutely sure this was going to come down because this is exactly what we expected it to do. We have this move down. We have that sharp one. We were looking for a sharp one up there. And then we got this correction that came beyond the low. Now, you could make an argument for contracting flat there, but I don't like contracting flat. So I think they're still going to come back down to the bottom here. And when they come to the bottom here, I truly believe we're going to have more upside. If they stop short of going down, like they stopped here and start to reverse, that's a buy setup. That is following the trend to the upside. Now, this might be the clue to what the rest of them would do, what we would see in the rest of the charts. Now, how deep would this one come? If it stops here and start to go back, we're in the buy. If they stop, consolidate, we keep selling it all the way back to this level. So which would it be? Let's go look at it in the 1 hour again. Look for your sell setups. You actually had a very short one there, so that I would not consider a sell setup. Let this drop a little more, make a flag here. This would be your sell setup. Here's a flag. Let me show you a few flags. Those are not flags. Here is a flag, but this one didn't go far. That would be break even for you. There's a number of them that you can look at. Wait for a flag. We will look for a sell setup to the low. So here's what I'm going to do. Because I believe that a lot of these charts will be changing during this week, that might give us a very longer term trade, right? I'm going to do you guys a favor because you were kind to me. You well wish my son and he's coming out. I'm going to give this week of webinar free. That thought just came to my head. That's why I'm telling you now, right? I'm looking at this and I would like to update this chart for you. So I would make the whole week webinar free. So please share it as much as you can. Give somebody else, let them have an understanding of what we do. If you follow all of this in time, you will get it, right? You don't have to join my group to understand this thing. It's great. If you really want to be good at it, then you should join my group. If you want to be in an amazing group of people, then you should join my group, who you can trade with daily, right? Then you should join. If not, keep following, you would learn a few things. So let's go. I'll go back to where we were. We're in the euro. Yeah, look for that trade, Pong. It's a sell. We're in that sell, and Pong definitely will go back. Pong, this is a known pattern. We're pretty sure about this sell here because we know this pattern 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Exactly as it is, we've seen it. This is likely going to come here and go back up. We've seen this specific pattern 1, 2, 3. So from this point, we will see, are we going down or is it going to continue to go up? But once you get this straight to the bottom here, to this level, see, I have the line there waiting for that, right? That's where we're trading it to. Now, can it be a contracting flat and go back from here and go from there? Well, if I see a flag here, we'll buy. But I think it's going to drop a little more before they go. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye and see what it's doing. Maybe it's turning now as a contracting flat. Maybe it's just going to come a little more. And then you look for the trade to the upside. And then we'll see if we get downside or if it's continuation to the upside. I believe the downside is most likely. Aussie. Now, Aussie didn't have to do anything. Aussie just had to go, right? They didn't have to come back because you have 1, 2, 3, and this could be enough to continue to go as much. But it's pulling back. So the question of what Aussie is going to do now is open, right? It's pretty open. They can go back up, make another flat here, continue to go, make another flat, continue to. And if we see this, we'll expect this and then continuation, right? So is Aussie building a bigger corrective structure here? Very likely. How big would it be? I don't know, right? But it looks like we're making a big corrective structure. And if we make a big corrective structure in here, if Aussie continue to build a corrective structure in here, eventually you get this one and then you get upside, right? What if Aussie starts to fall now? What if this starts to fall right here without building it, like continue to go? What if this is going to break through? Then the chances are we're going to go way deeper because this is a small flat. When you get such a small flat, they tend to go really much, this impulse tend to go much deeper, right? So this also might be one we'll be keeping an eye on. Let's see which one it gives us right there. Right there, it's starting to give, we had a sell set up there. You can see that sell. There's an entry order here for a sell. This was the flag. That was a sell. This was a sell. This became a break-even trade. This was a sell. I think once we break this low, you close it or you took break even either. And now it's coming back here. I don't know what it's doing right now. We don't know. It's probably going to make a flat here. If it makes a flat here, we sell because it could go down, right? Break the low. If they go up and make a flag, if they go back and make a flag here, we'd look for another one. I might not even buy Aussie because it's not going to be that sharp. Because this is the sharp one now. So either this continues to go down or they make a bigger correction here and then we get another sharp one and you just stay in that consolidation. So Aussie is not looking very interesting as a trade right now, right? Let's see. If on the sell, yes. If we get the sell, yes. If we don't get the sell, it's not that interesting. New Zealand. So New Zealand is looking very interesting as well. If they consolidate there, this would drop. How deep it's going to go? It could go really deep. It could be a bigger correction in the daily structure. Right, quite a deep one. If you're starting an impulse there and you're getting a small flag like this at the top here for a drop, remember the smaller that flag, the bigger the drop is. See, when you had a small one like this here, that drop really goes far, right? When you get small ones, you get bigger move to the upside. So I think if this starts to drop, this could be the first impulse of a very big correction. A very big correction in this area. This would be one impulse, right? Now there is a chance, one chance that they can even retest the low. I showed you that. Watch the webinar where I did on the daily charts. Come back to the low here and then go, making this a big flat in the middle there. So do we want this sell if it's going to go? I don't know if it's going. What if you're going to get this? Then you definitely want the sell. Let's go look at it in the 4 hour and on the 1 hour. Look for the sell setups, right? You're getting a sell setup right now, right here forming. I didn't post any update on this one because the trade was not there as yet. We saw this trade, but that was not very clear. This could have been a flat for upside. The next trade you had was this one, which was a break-even trade. I took it, but it's a break-even trade. Now we have this one forming. See? That's a running flat. An entry here with a stop here is what I would do. Right? And then I'll see if this drops through the bottom. That is the trade setup that I would have coming Monday morning. And it's a really good trade. I definitely would have that entry order there Monday morning. If I don't have it this yet. I think I might have it on already. Let's go. CAD. CAD, like I said, every time they make a new low, we buy. We're already in the buy here, and there's a second buy that I have that is at this level. That buy, I haven't closed it as yet, but most likely I'll close it for break even. Because this move down is sharp. Once they pull back like this, you take break even because this could be, it could go, but it might go slower. I'll keep this one. I'll see what happens to that. Put it to break even. I think they're coming back to the top here. When I'll start to get worried about this, I might look for another entry again once this make a bigger correction. I think this might make a little bigger correction here and then go to the top there. This is where I'll watch it. See these sharp moves? See this bigger correction here? We might get one of that here and then upside. Right? What I'm looking for is when it gets to that top, what happens? Do we come back again to the low or do we take breakout? Now, CAD could break out at any time. Why? Because we're in a daily correction. So another comment I had from one trader, he actually made a comment and didn't ask a question. He should have put it in the form of a question and I would give him a very nice answer. He's like, this thing is coming down for a year. Why are you looking for buys? Right? And the answer is in your question, because it came down for a year. We weren't buying at the top there or here or here. There's a specific place where we start to look for buys. That is when you break this low. All of this were buy setups we're looking for. Well, why you want to wait to buy from there? Because you have an impulse like that and you have a correction here. You have an impulse like that, you have a correction here. We have an impulse. What are the chances we might get that correction? What if I'm right and we get that correction? Great. If I'm wrong, then I have 6 break-even trade and 2 small profitable trade. I'm not selling it in there. There's no good sell setup. And as a matter of fact, if you try selling it, you will see how difficult it is for you. If you're really trading, if you're really trying to sell something at the top here, you can see what happens to you, right? It wasn't going anywhere. The only good sell was this one, and I'll show you this one. Those were the only 2 good sells in that whole structure coming down. Because if you sold here, you got break even. If you sold anywhere in here, you got break even. Because they pull back right into where you sold. And what are you going to do? Stay with it? Congratulations if you're doing that. You had no idea they were going to go down there. Hindsight, of course, you saw that, but you had no idea. If you really think you were sure they were going to go down there, you're making a big mistake. Because there is no surety that you don't even know if this one is going to break out or is going to come back down. Any one of these could go. So if we get a flag here, a bigger correction here, I'm buying again to this stop. And from there, I'll either they break out or I'll exit the trade if they start to go down. Let's see which one they do. Punkad. Well, I'm in the selling the Punkad, and I've been telling you about this one. You guys should go back and watch all the webinars on Punkad. Just pick the part with the Punkad, starting from the 18th when I started to do the daily free webinar. And we were somewhere in here when we told you we expected to come here, come back down, go back, break that top, break this top as a matter of fact, but it break that top. That's just a expanding or running flat. In this case, a running flat. And then they're going to come back down again to this level. And then they're going to go back up. So if you're watching this for the first time, just follow us on this piece and that piece. Well, they don't have to break the low anymore because we're making a running flat, right? They break the top. We have got this flat. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We're getting this one. 1, 2, 3. And guess what? We need this. 1, 2, 3. So I'm already in that cell. I already had the second cell that I'm making profit on. The first one I closed, the second one I'm in. All right, we closed the first one, which I had from this point. We closed it somewhere here. Now, we had this one. We closed that as well. That was a small one. We knew that once it started to pull back here, you got to get out of the trade because you're getting a bigger one, right? And now you got this, and we are in this trade here. You can see that trade is going. That is a break even already, and we'll see if they break out and come, right? Now, there's a chance that it could go back up one more. There's a slight chance for that. I think that chance is almost gone, right? From this point here. If this is a running flat to drop again, we'll probably get another trade somewhere here. Let's see how that goes. Right, so we're in from the break of this, and then we'll see if we get one from the break of this. What if this goes back up to the top there? Well, I will exit the trade somewhere here. If they go back and break this piece, if they're breaking out of this flat here that they have, I'll close my trade here, book that profit, and then allow it to come here and then sell again from the top. Maybe if I get a buy, I'll take it because this correction would either just get bigger for downside. It still will go down, right? There's no question about whether we're going to come down here. We know that. There's a how big would that correction be? Now, I don't think it's going to be big. I believe they're going to drop. So if I get this, that will be my second trade and maybe one more trade here. The more corrections you get, the more trades you get to the downside. Let's see how it goes. All right. Punkad, by the way, is not supposed to be there. I actually moved it up because I was trading the Punkad. Let me just move it back to where it should be. It's only there because I was trading it. Where's the Punkad? Let me put it back in its right space. Go back next to the Punk trades. Yes, let's go. Sorry about that. Yen. Yen is one. Here's if there's one thing you want to make money in and you should focus in is the dollar yen. Go back and watch this, what I told you it's going to do. And the same thing traders were saying. When this piece was coming down, I told you we bought that. I told you we bought that. And it came down back and it came down back, remember? And the same thing, the same 3 people who don't like my videos. If you go, you see 3 or 4 dislikes because they can't make crazy comment anymore, but they put their 4 dislikes. You'll see all of them, all my videos have 4 dislikes and they get them immediately once. The same people are making that crazy comment. He says, again, look, you're buying yen when it's going down. Yeah, but you can't trade in here. You can't trade in that correctiveness. There's nothing to trade in there. This is your trade. That's why we are buying yen to the upside. And we bought this one. I think I bought from here, getting that piece again. I made up a few break-even trading there in the 1 hour. I got that piece, and I'm again going to get this trade again. I actually bought and sold in that little piece there, correction. And I'm buying again to go back there because it will go break that up. The question is what happens when it breaks this top. There are 2 options what's going to happen. One of them is we come back and make a new low. We come back here, make a new low, and then go. That is one option. One option is when we break this top, we come back for a new low and then go there. Or this one just continues to go there and then we turn to the downside. Guess what? When it reaches here, we'll make that decision. You'll be here. You'll see me. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not running away from anybody. You will see this. You will see what happened. And these are forecasting again. Remind you, these are forecasting. These are not hindsight. These are not, I'd come back and said, hey, last week, this is what this is what we did last week. I'm telling you what we're going to do next week. Not what we did last week, what we're going to do next week. Because you can only trade what we're going to do next week. You can't trade what I did last week. That's useless to you. So here's the thing. We were in this buy. We closed it because remember I told you I think this could be all the correction. But if it is not all the correction, we'll get out of the trade. We were in this trade and here, and I think I closed mine somewhere at the top here. Once I see this flag here, I realized, okay, that's a flag. They're going to go down, right? Once we got this, see this piece here? I was like, I'm closing my trade because they're going to go down one more, right? They go down one more, they come back. I thought this could go. They didn't go. We were in a trade here that got closed here too. And then we put the entry order above that top because just in case they go, and then they came down. So here is what I see now. I see this possible coming back to this level, making a bigger flat here, and then we'll take off. So let's go into 1 hour and look at that. 1 hour, yep, there's a sell setup. Now the question is whether you want that sell, because there's going to be a drop here. You can take it. You might be lucky. You get that trade very fast and then start to look for the upside. I'm more interested in the upside. So my entry order right now is here. But as soon as this dropped to that level, my entry order comes down here. And probably somewhere in here, I'll be looking for the buy. Right? So the dollar yen is quite easy. As I was saying, what for this move down? You might get a sell there. I don't know how far it's going to go. Once they break this low, we're looking for upside. Don't miss this trade, guys. It might be a little more complicated than this. Let me just warn. It could also be that this here makes a bigger correction, go back up, come back down, and then go. But if you get a buy here, by the time it gets to the top, you would get break even, right? If we see that this is not going, they come back down, ignore it, look for the buy again, right? This is just a big correction. It's a running flat, so it's almost guaranteed to go up, right? This is like 99% they're going to go up to get this stuff. Swiss, I showed you that already. Let's go. Canadian. What is the Canadian doing here? Oh, we were trading the Canadian. That's why it's here. 1 second. Let me move that away from here. It should be lower here. Let's put it there. Okay, good. So, oh, all the yen trades are here. That is why. Put the Swiss up there and let's go. Aussie Yen. Aussie Yen has an amazing trade setup. They actually broke out, but they went back. They're coming down here again. Watch for consolidation here. It could probably spend a little more time. Look for that trade and look for this trade down. This is the trade you want. You're going to get 1, 2, 3, and then we're expecting them to go up. So some downside here and then upside. All of them, a lot of them have that similar structure. New Zealand yen, I already showed you this when I started. Downside here, it might not, yeah, this would likely break the low because this is not a running flat, this is a regular flat. Then upside. Canadian is the only one that doesn't really have anything to match with except this one, if we're going to go for that. So this might be a slight move down here and then upside. If we go with this to go with that regular flat. But there is a down trade here you can go for on the shorter time frame, right? Swiss yen. Swiss yen is a little messy. You probably want to ignore this one. It's downside. I'm still expecting that they will probably make this move down. I don't think this was all, so we might get a drop to this level and then up. But that is not very sure about it. That's a little, messy with the structures you have here, the number of corrections you have. So probably stay away from this. Short term, it's still downside. Even this piece, it's still downside short term. How far is it going to just break this low? Or do we go all the way to here and then go back up? Right? But once you finish this, it's going to be upside. All the yen pairs, pretty easy, right? One more down move, then upside. I will do euro yen too. Euro yen, same thing. We're looking for this running flat here. 1, 2, 3. This has just a little piece more to go, and then we think it's upside. That would be a running flat. See? Let's go to pound yen. Let's just finish the pound yen pair, the yen pairs. Pound yen. Remember, I always tell you, watch these sharp moves. You always get them in the future. So I think we're getting it here now. I think this could be it. It might go a little more down. Not necessary, but it could go a little more down, and then we're expecting upside. This would just be a big running flat here. And then upside, right? So watch that. It's coming down a little. You might get a trade here. This, the downside is not sure. Probably wait for some so you had this already. So wait for some consolidation here. Maybe one more drop and then upside. Not necessarily one more drop. So trading this to the downside may not be the right thing to do. You have the Aussie yen and the New Zealand yen and I think the Swiss yen has a better, or the Canadian had a better setup. This one could go from here and it could be a running flat as it stands right now. Right? As this stand right now, this could be the running flat. Come on. Right? That is a perfect running flat as it stands right now. Of course, it would be better if they come a little lower. One more and then go. But that's not guaranteed, right? If you get buy setups, you can go for it. Let's go back to the yen pairs where we were. Aussie Swiss. Aussie Swiss is consolidating. You're probably going to get a trade to the downside. This is a very complex pattern. I'm assuming we're looking at this. 1, 1, 2, 3. Go up there. This one is coming down for this one here. One down here. Probably go back up. Maybe come back down and then go. It's a very big, complex corrective structure. You could stay away from it. That might be the best thing. Aussie CAD, look for buy setups. This is making sharp moves, but they're corrective in nature. This is the only one that is not correct. So wait for this to give you a correction here, and then upside. So I don't think we should trade this to the downside anymore. Wait for the correction to finish, then upside. Aussie New Zealand, we were expecting this to break down. It went up, no problem. All that tells us is we're going to have a running flat. So let me explain this very clearly. Once it's at the lower bottom here, if it breaks out, you sell to get this low. Good. What happens if they go higher? No problem. All you have now is a running flat in the making here. This is 1. This is still the correction. It just broke the top. They will come back here, make a running flat here. Go back up one more. Make a bigger running flat. That is still a running flat. So you get this. You will still get this move, except now it's not going to break the low. See? So we would see this go back up. This would go back up a little more here. On a short note, I don't think it's going to go far. You probably come back to about this distance, give you a flat there. Come back here, and then go. Right? Just a change in the pattern. Structurally, nothing changed. Now we're going to have our first pattern that we can actually identify as a pattern. And now you'd have the first one that you can actually go with that might be a pattern. So let's wait and see. EuroCAD, we're looking for the buys, and there's a good chance that this could go really high. You want to focus on that buy setup because it might come to test the top, or they might just come to about this level, depending on how complex this pattern here would be. We made it low. If they're going up totally, that's okay. But if you're making a flat here like this, then you would get 1, 2, 3, come back here and then go. Or this would totally take off. Either is possible. Now, from where will it go? We don't know. Maybe it's going from here, maybe not. But there's a buy setup here to get. Set this like that and put the end short. The end short is above this stop. Right? So wait for that, or put it above this stop. Wait for it to break out. That's a trade. Right? Probably get some more consolidation here. And then go. What if they go make a new low? Not interested. This low was a better one to sell, and I didn't sell it. This one was a good one to sell. I didn't sell it. I'm not going to be selling this. The lower they go, the less my interest in the sell is there. Because the risk to rewards on the trade to the downside is useless. Right? So let's see if we get the upside. Euro New Zealand. Okay. We're finally getting something here. There was a buy setup here that we got once we saw this whole corrective structure. Now, the problem with this is it might stop right here. Right? This piece could come back here again. And if we start to get a big flat in this area, we're just going to come here and then go down. We might not get the bigger one we're looking for. Right? It all depends on how the corrective structure behave. We were anticipating a big move up like this. See that one? We're anticipating a big one up like that. But if this corrective structure here starts to get bigger, which means if they come back down here and you get something like this, then we're only expecting them to do this and then come down. Right? We're not expecting them to come to this level and then go down. I think this one you could almost cancel because it's not going to happen. I'll still keep it to see how far they go. Now, you might either go now, which I think is a possibility. They take off right now. Probably put it like this. If we go with this structure in here as a 1, 2, 3, this could be the bottom and we go up now, right? If this becomes a more complex pattern, then we will end up going down once more. So watch for the break of this top. If they do break that top, you want the trade. If it's a flag here for downside, maybe you'll get a trade here. Once they break the low, they're going to go back up. The sell setup is not so interested. The buy is the one that you're interested in. So if this consolidation breaks out, consolidate here some more and break out, that is a trade we'll take this week. It might happen Tuesday, Wednesday. That is a trade we'll take. Euro Yen we did already. Euro Swiss, Downside, I think very likely we're still in consolidation. We're not going anywhere. That is still consolidation. This still looks like it's very likely they're going to come here and then go, right? What if they're going up? What if it's going to break out of this consolidation now? Then put an entry order to buy here. Because if they break out, you'll get a move like this. Right? If it breaks out of here, you get a move like that. So an entry order to buy, you can put now right here. That is something I would do. And wait to see whether they make a new low. If they make a new low, we look for a buy setup from the bottom here going up. All right, so put this in the 1 hour. Take this out. This was the buy we had that we closed because that didn't go. And now they're consolidating here. I have no idea whether that consolidation is an upside move, the 1, 2, 3 for upside, or if this is going to drop to the low and then go. I'm more inclined to believe they'll drop to the low because there's a lot of correction in this thing. And when you get so much correction, you tend to go down first. The impulses tend to go up really sharp. But you can put an entry order here. You can't go wrong with that, right? If they go down, you'll never be tagged. Euro-Aus, we're looking for buy setups. It's a flat. You'll probably just get a flat and downside. You get the sharp one, you get consolidation. And we're looking for this to go. We were expecting some move from here. They never went. They came very low. And this one could still come here, but you're in consolidation, right? So we want the impulse to the upside, which is this sharp one. Wait for it. It's not, we don't have a trade set up on it yet. Euro-Pound, we broke this low, so it will be a flat. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, and then downside. You're seeing a tendency in the euro pairs, right? This one is going to come back here and then downside because it's a flat. We broke the low. You can actually look for a buy setup. This was a sell. This was a short-term sell there. That was the buy that became a break even. You can look for a buy setup here if they go. But I believe they'll come back here low first and then go. Right? The sell here, I'm not interested in. But if they come back low and then decide to go, we're looking for this straight up to complete that flat. So let's see if we get that. Pound-Aus. Pound-Aus is going down. This was a sell setup here if you wanted. The first one was a sell. This one is a sell. It's a short-term sell. Come to only break this low. So when they break that low, this pattern eventually goes up, right? See this? The bigger structure is downside. The bigger structure of this piece here, this entire piece here is downside. This piece could be downside, go back up and then come down. But this is not breaking out. This would likely go, this piece here would likely go back up first and then come down. So there's a buy setup to get there. And if they break through this structure here, come make flag here, then we start selling, right? There's a shorter selling inside here. These are very small trades in there. You can see this one, right? That was a small sell. It's already too late to sell it. Risk to reward is no good. You can try to sell here, but you have to put a stop here, and the target is right here before they go back up, right? You can actually see it. You don't need me to tell you. You can see what it's going to do, right? So you don't want that trade. Pound CAD, we already show you we're in the sell. Pound New Zealand. Okay, it didn't break the top, so I still want them to break the top, right? Because when they break the top, the trade to the downside becomes much more better, right? We expect this whole pattern to fall, the bigger structure, right? It's a 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 there. And then we know this was going to break, but it didn't break the top. I want them to break the top and then start the downside. But if they're not going to break the top, I would still sell. I'm just waiting for the setup. So we don't have a sell setup here. If it consolidates in this area here, go back up, then we look for the sell. If it drops a little more, wait for the flag and then sell. Because this could still break the top and then go down. If it breaks the top, any sell setup you get this week is a good sell. If it doesn't break the top, you can still sell it. They don't have to break the top. I was just hoping they would break the top, right? Let's go. We already did this. Pound Swiss. It's a big consolidation. I think all the Swiss players has this weird consolidation going on. Just stay away from it. It's downside mostly. But it's not going very fast and it's not going very far. See? It's kind of consolidating here. Go back up one more and then come here. So probably stay away. We're getting some weird consolidation in there that is not much, not easily. The trades are not even worth it when you get in there. So New Zealand Swiss, same thing. See, we're consolidating in this thing here, sideways. We did this, we did that. There's a sell setup here though. This might be a better one. You can watch it to tag this low. Right? Or it might just break this low, go back up there, and then come down. There's a big flat forming here. So you can ignore the middle of it, which is difficult sometimes to get. You get the trade and then they don't go, right? So this was a trade setup. This was a flat, right? Remember when we tried to sell this, that's break even. And then it does this. You can always make an argument for a bigger flat there, right? So you get 1, 2, and you're getting 3 down here. Well, that's a big corrective structure by itself if that happens, right? So we probably still go back to the top. We still come back here, and then we go. Wait for them to come to the low here and then start to look for buy setups. That's the better deal. I'd let all this consolidation finish. But if you're insisting in trading it, here's a sell setup. See? That's a sell setup. I don't know how far. I'll be watching this low. This trade here. That's the first place from where a pattern could complete itself and go back up. New Zealand CAD. We're in this. There's a sell setup here. Very short-term trade. This is a sell setup, but it's very, very short-term. They might just break this low and go back up. And the reason for that is because we have a daily 4-hour sharp wave down there that we are repeating now for a running flat. See that? So the sell here is very short-term. I would not sell the pound CAD. That's a better deal, right? CAD Swiss. It's just going sideways. And if you keep going sideways here, you're likely going to go up, right? This might come back here, drop again, come back, drop, and then you upside. If you do that, it's upside. Let's go. So that is for the Forex trades. I'll stop this recording here. Just complete that. I'll stop this. And we will do the rest of these maybe tomorrow, because I'll add the cryptocurrency, some more that you guys have recommended. We have selected about 5 more. So I'll put those 5 more on, and I'll do that tomorrow for you guys. Remember, you're going to have the whole weekly free, right? The whole weekly. And in the weekly, I would do everything. In the weekly, I just go through the entire list of everything we have, right? Which is pretty long. So watch this now and prepare for tomorrow. You get the entire thing again. So I'll repeat it every day for the next, until the end of the week. That's a thank you for my son, for all your prayers and all your well wishes. That's my way of thanking you. So take care. Have a great weekend. See all of you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.